Greetings, this is Jerry from the Millionaire Educator, and today I just want to talk a little bit about um, my post 2024 free money every year, the free money articles, the most highly requested blog post I do. So just wanted to explain some of the numbers to those of you out there who find taxes confusing. I know I find it confusing. I get that idea across every year when I write this. So let's take a look at this real quick. That's me and my wife, Mexico Beach, Florida. There's my son. So, okay, for many years, my son provided us with child tax credits from age 0 all the way through 16. But the key takeaway here is that when your children turn 17, they're no longer eligible for the tax credit. And you need to understand that a tax credit actually pays off a tax obligation. So tax credits are very useful. Now, before we go any further, let me just say most people's free money amount consists of two components. The first thing is the standard deduction, and the second thing is the child tax credit. Okay, and we're going to take a look at this real quick and see how it pertains to me. Well, in this part of the blog, I just throw it out here. I'm comparing 2024 to 2023. And you can see this year our standard deduction will be $29,200. Last year was $27,700. Last year was the first year we didn't have the child tax credit, and of course that carries over this year. So pretty meager free money amounts, $29,200 for this year. That does represent a $1,500 increase over the previous year. So that's, when we get down to it, that's all we really have. Also, every year I kind of take a look at, I'm very big on the idea you need to decide how much you want to pay in taxes instead of being surprised on April 15th. So what I've done here is kind of reverse engineered some numbers, and let's take a look at this little chart. The first thing is, if I just decide I want to pay $1,000 in federal income tax, so what does that look like? I still have the standard deduction, my free money, and since the first bracket I encounter is the 10% bracket, well, $1,000 means I get $10,000 more of income. So if you can get that just by taking 1,000 and dividing it by 0.1. And so that means I would have 39,200 and I would owe 1,000. So I would net 38,200. Okay. I'd only pay $1,000. And what this table does, it just shows if I decide to pay $2,000 or $3,000. And you can see the big takeaway here is the after-tax income, 38,200, 47,200, 55,000, with effective tax rates of 2.6, 4.1, and 5.2% roughly. All right, that's not a lot of money in those cases, but it's not, if you have a paid off house, you live in a low cost area of the world, you can work with that. I also like to always break it down every year by, the amount I get each month, each week, and each day based on the actual tax bill of 0, tax bill of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Okay. And you get an idea of what you'll be working with every month. Okay. So there's not a whole lot to this article, but the part everyone wants to see is always these tables. So I'm here to really talk about this. So let's look at my case right here. My wife and I were married and we're filing jointly. Okay. We don't have any kids that qualify for the child tax credit, so we find ourselves over here. So, as we said, standard deduction is my free money. This number right here represents the entire 10% bracket, $23,200. So if I decide to run our income all the way to the end of that, that means we would get over $52,000 while owing about $2,300 in federal income tax. That represents an effective tax rate of 4.4%. Not bad. The second thing we need to keep in mind here is that there's still the 12% tax bracket, which is over $71,000 of income that we could pull in. And that money would be pulled in at the 12% bracket. If we pulled the free money, the 10% bracket, the 12% bracket, that would be a grand total of $123,500. Okay. And on that, we would owe, I'm going to round up and say $11,000 and have an effective tax rate of about 8.8%. So the whole reason I do this every year is so that I kind of know my break points, see where my tax pain threshold might kick in. But, that's quite a bit of money still to only pay, $11,000. At the end of the day, we're always trying to make informed tax decisions. So let's look at this next thing. I want to talk about two buddies of mine that have kids. And my first buddy, Jay, he's got a daughter. He's married. So they have the same standard deduction that I have, but notice their credits. $20,000 credit because $2,000 tax credit divided by 0.1 yields $20,000. So his free money amount is actually $49,200. And he still has a little bit of money in the 10% bracket. And if he takes that out, he'll be up to the 52,000 and change. And he would owe $320 on that. I mean, minuscule amount, right? And that would be an effective tax rate of less than 1%. So great. He could still take all this 12% money out, that 71,000 we mentioned earlier, that would put him in a combined income of over 123,000. And if he did that, he would owe, we'll just round up and say $9,000 in taxes with an effective tax rate of 7.2%. All right. Now we're going to look at my buddy Brack. He has 3 kids. He's married. So same standard deduction, but notice his credits here. This is eye-catching. He gets credits for almost $54,000. So his total free money is actually $83,000. He has no more 10% money because his credits just kind of blew past that. And it even went into his 12% bracket to a degree, because you notice over here, Jay's got 71,000. Brack has 40,000. So if he decides to take $40,000 more of income, how much will he owe? At the end of the day, his tax bill will be, we'll say $5,000. So he'll pull, in that case, he would have $123,000 of income for the year, but he would pay less than $5,000 and have a effective tax rate of roughly 4%. Okay, so he'll have to make the decisions on how much money he wants for the year. I'd like to take a look at one more scenario in our family. My sister-in-law, Whitney, she files head of household, I believe, and she has 2 boys that qualify for the child tax credit. So the head of household standard deduction is $21,900. Her credits are $36,000. So her total free money amount is $58,000. Okay. She has no more money in the 10% bracket. The credits push through that. But she does have about $27,000 of 12% money in there at the 12% bracket. So in the grand total, if she pulls her free money, her 10% bracket, and her 12% bracket, she could have $85,000, on which she would owe about $3,300 of federal income tax with an effective tax rate of under 4%. It's good to know these things, right? I'm not going to do married filing separately, but I just wanted to go over this and, explain. It's always good to do a little tax planning before the year starts. That way, at what point do you start paying income tax? How much income tax will you pay? Because we don't like surprises in April. Okay, as always, you'll have to use this information as it will apply to your financial independence plan, your tax plan. If this has been of benefit to you, please share the post or the video with any of your friends. And I appreciate your time and best of luck to everyone working their plan. Out.